Hi, I'm John Sedgwick. Welcome back to PDQPD. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about images. And teachers, we know how powerful images are in our presentations that we make to our students, and we also know how powerful those images can be when students are demonstrating their knowledge. But in this era of copyright and copyright violations, we need to be very careful that we're using appropriate images that aren't violating somebody else's copyright. So what I'd like to do today is show you a few ways to find free photos that you can use in your presentations or in your documents. Let's start with the most obvious way most people search for images, and that is on Google. And fortunately, Google builds in some tools for us. I'm going to start with just simply a Google search and search for something simple. Let's search for pictures of a tiger. And as I type that in, of course, I get Tiger Woods information. But I'm going to go to images, and it's going to show me lots of images of tigers. Now, unfortunately, I don't know which of these images are protected by copyright, which need to be paid to use, which are free, what I have the freedom to use. I'm going to go up here to the Tools, and you see when I click the Tools button, it opens some other options here, and one of those options in the center is usage rights. And if I click the down button, you see I have 5 different options: not filtered by license, labeled for reuse with modification, labeled for reuse, labeled for non-commercial reuse with modification, and labeled for non-commercial reuse. Now, as educators, we are probably safe if we pick any of these 4. The labeled for reuse with modification means that we can not only use it, but we can also modify the picture. There are different copyrights that control that. So we are able to reuse and modify. Even if we were a commercial entity, we could use these. This one's labeled for reuse, whether we are a commercial or non-commercial. And then since we are education, we are non-commercial. We're not going to use these pictures to advertise for a money-making opportunity, or we're not going to use these to sell. So this is labeled for non-commercial reuse with modifications. So that pretty much means I can use it for anything as long as I'm not using it for money-making. And labeled for non-commercial reuse, this is a little more limited. I can use it, but I can't modify it in any way. So if we select one of these, and let's just click labeled for reuse, and this is whether I'm commercial or non-commercial, you see the pictures change. It limits them somewhat. Although it limits them, we know that we can use these pictures because it says here labeled for reuse. Now, just because we can use them doesn't mean we don't have to give attribution. And we can talk about attribution another time, but first we just want to stick to the pictures that we know are legal for us to use. Now, there's another way in Google that we can do pretty much the same thing. And while I'm here in images, I'm going to go to settings, and then I'm going to scroll down to the advanced search. And if you notice in the advanced search, I can search by keyword, or I can type in a bunch of other things if I want to narrow my search. But way down here at the bottom where it says usage rights, there's a down arrow, and it pretty much gives you the same options as before. The wording's a little simpler and they're organized a little differently. But now it says not filtered by license, which is it's not telling you what you can use and can't use. But here, free to use or share even commercially, free to use, share or modify, free to use, share or modify even commercially. So it does pretty much the same thing, just a little bit different wording. That's how you can search those images in Google and be certain that you are using free images. But I also want to show you a few other options that are not Google that are just as effective and in some cases even more. I'm going to go, my next tab here is a website called Pixabay. And you can see here right on the front page it says beautiful free images. So they're all free. And I'm just going to go up here and type in tiger just to show you what I get as a result. And you see I get some great pictures of tigers that I am free to use in my presentations. A nice thing about Pixabay is you notice now I am in a blank Google Doc. Google Doc has a Pixabay add-on. So if you are working in documents and you sometimes use pictures, I have added the Pixabay free images add-on, and then I can search images. It opens up a sidebar right from my document, and I can type in tiger. It's going to bring up pretty much the same images, although they're a little bit harder to see because they're not in grid view. But when I find one I like, I simply click on it, and it adds it to my document. So that's a pretty nice feature when you're looking for, if you know you're going to be looking for images, you can use Pixabay right from your document. Another site that I like to use if you just need something simple is Open Clipart. Same idea here. It's free. You can use these as you like. Now there is an add-on for Open Clipart, but I haven't been able to get that to work very well today. It will open, but it won't search for anything. So we'll wait and see if that comes back or not. Another site that's very popular for free images is Unsplash, and that's simply unsplash.com. And again, I'm going to go here to the search window, type in tiger, just so you get a parallel usage, and you see the pictures come up. And again, these are all free. Now you see these are mostly photos. None of these are professionally taken. Well, they're professionally taken, but you don't need to pay for those. And just like Pixabay in Documents, if you go to a blank Google presentation in the Google add-ons, there is an Unsplash add-on. And when you click on that, it opens Unsplash from the side menu here, just like before. You can type in tiger. And just like before, I can click on it, and it adds it to my picture. So that is Unsplash. Another popular site is Flickr, and that's flikr.com. And if you go to Flickr, same principle. Type in tiger. All the pictures on Flickr are free to use. And then finally, and this is one I'm going to start encouraging more often, this is the Creative Commons search. And Creative Commons is an organization that controls licenses, and these are all free, but there sometimes are particular use licenses that you have to abide by. Sometimes you have to give attribution to the photographer of the pictures. But here's what I like about this. You see, and this is search.creativecommons.org, and you can see here, similar to the other searches, I want something that I can use for commercial purposes. Well, that doesn't apply to us because we're education, we're not commercial. And then modify, adapt, or build upon. And then you can type in your search term, and down here it gives a bunch of different places from which you can search. Now we've already seen Google, we've already seen Pixabay, let's see, we've already seen Flickr. So let's take a look at perhaps Wikipedia Commons. And then these are options in Tiger. And these give pages of Tiger. Oh, it looks like we've got some tiger butterflies and pictures. It looks at it a little bit differently and gives you the information about the picture as well. And also keep, I'm going to back up a couple pages here. Also keep an eye on this page, the Creative Commons Search Beta, because what they are enabling with this is not only can you choose the picture, but it will attach the attribution to it. So as we move forward, when you're going to start asking your students to give attribution, this is a nice site. So those are some places you can go to find free images in your presentations or have your students use in their imitations. It's a first step on the way to being compliant and being safe in our copyright searches. So I hope this is helpful to you, and as always, have a great day.